Waiting out a summer storm up here under the picnic pavilion at Hobe Sound Beach. Yep, sometimes I get so excited about shelling that I fail to check the weather. Thankfully, this storm was offshore and moving farther out in the Atlantic. Last week, I shared what I found farther down the same island near Coral Cove and Blowing Rocks after Erin. Now, let's see what's farther north on the same island, Jupiter Island. But I did stop at Blowing Rocks on the way out. Starting out the morning with a couple Scotch bonnets is always exciting, but finding a more uncommon shell like a Distorcio is even more fun. I really like collecting lion's paw pieces, and the whole paw is a bonus. I found lots of bright colors, Mexican Tellins, pretty flats, Strigillas, Bittersweets, an uncommon Triton, Scotch bonnets, and lots more, along with pretty views and saying hello to live critters. Welcome to Florida Beach Walks. I'm Roxanne. Let's go shelling. I think we have an alternate Tellin here. I'm not too good at IDing these, but they're quite see-through and pretty fragile. I think that's what these are. Now here is a large Strigilla, but I do like the rosy Strigilla name for these, and it could be a false one. I mentioned in last episode, Debbie, she pointed out to me that there are also false ones too. You can tell the difference in the adductor and paleo-line scarring, which is where the mollusk was attached, but it's not always quite visible. And at this point, looking at online examples and over the shells that I have, it's still a bit confusing to see the difference. Here's an orange senti scallop in a very nicely patterned juvenile calico. And here is a Mexican Tellin. I was confusing these a little while ago with the speckled Tellin. They do look similar, but SWF Beach Life pointed out the difference in the two. Here we have turtle tracks up and turtle tracks down. Here's a little juvenile flat. Lots of these we're going to run into this morning. I believe that's a round rib. When they're juveniles like this, it's just so hard to tell those apart between the zigzag ones as well. Let's see. We've got a purplish simile, more on the purplish side. These do come in orange as well. And here's a rough scallop. Very beautiful design in that one. Yay! A lion's paw. All right. Getting a little excited. As a very dirty scaly or senti scallop there. I don't know if that's going to clean up good. I will soak that in some hydrogen peroxide, but I don't know. And here's here's a much brighter one, the orange variety. The other one looked, maybe it was like a purple. They do come in the purple and the orange in those, and then modeling of both of those colors. Here's another, it's so bright. And here's another Strigilla, rosy Strigilla. Oh, shoot. Like nature took a bite out of that paw. That would have been a beautiful one. See, I just can't tell the muscle scarring on that one. There's a rough scallop. And here is a jewel box lid, an Atlantic jewel box lid, and another juvenile flat. Very nice. And we have, okay, now this is the lower valve of a flat scallop, of a zigzag flat scallop. It's all nice and smooth. I'm not quite sure if I've ever found the lower valve of a round-ribbed flat scallop, but I do find quite a few of these zigzag ones. There wasn't really much of a low rack line near the water, so I just pretty much hung up here near the high rack line. And lion's paw, it is a bit black, and these don't really peroxide up too well. Let's see, we've got a jewel box, some more Strigillas, and let's see, a calico. I think, little rough scallop in the hand there as well. Just to have shells on the beach is a treat. And here is a very beautiful flat. And this iron sulfide staining is what that black stuff is. It will definitely come out, especially when it's light like that on a pretty shell. It will come out with a little bit of soaking and some hydrogen peroxide, 6%. And here's a file clam, but man, another hole. That would have been really, really nice and part of a queen helmet. And here is a senti scallop. This one will clean up pretty well. It's got nice color, and that stuff will just pick right off with a X-Acto knife. Ooh, and that's pretty. Mexican Tellin. That's gorgeous color. Now, some of these really just have some nice definitions, a lot more defined than your speckled Tellin. The speckled Tellins are pretty light in their patterning. Here's beautiful couple rough scallops. A little bit of clean job to do, but I love that orange one. Oh, in a lion's paw. All right, this one's not too black, and these really soak up and clean up well in 6% hydrogen peroxide. I know I keep saying that like a broken record, but if you haven't tried it, just try it. It's awesome. It cleans so well, these lion paws. Calico, and I think I had a Cinti scallop there. And here's another rough scallop. Sometimes these rough scallops are hard to clean up with the peroxide, from what I noticed, but the lion's paws are the easiest. Got a great turkey wing there. All right, now here is another Strigilla. Now see, I can't tell. I can't tell with the adductor scars yet on what those are. Here's another one. I think I just need to like really lay them all out and almost, I don't know, almost magnify them somehow so we can look at them up close. Here's a purple scaly scallop, a purple Cinti scallop. Really like the purple ones. I think the purple and orange ones though looks like sunrises or sunbursts. Now that is one stunning flat scallop. Perfect hinge wings, or oracles as they're technically called. And a sand dollar. Oh, it looks perfect from the bottom. An arrowhead. But it had a hole. Like, are you kidding me? Man, that would have been like my perfect arrowhead. That's all right. Here's another neon scaly. And we got a giant bittersweet clam, like a medium size on that one. Strigilla, got a turkey wing. I think I picked it up. I love picking up those rosy Strigillas. There's another lower valve of a flat scallop. Nice pink on that. I usually find them just white, but they're really fun when they have a little bit of color on them. And here's another purplish simile. Let's see, got another giant bittersweet. Okay, it's getting a little bit bigger. They max out about probably the size of your palm. They can get, I've seen some real giant ones, lose all their coloring, but they're good for painting or a craft shell if you like to do that. And here's a few. Okay, we've got a dirty and a clean Cinti scallop. Finding some more shiny lettered olives. Yep, definitely been finding a lot of these on pretty much all up and down Jupiter Island. Hobe Sound did have dredging, which I believe stirred up those, and a lot of chestnuts and a lot of lion paws. Every time I'm here, I just think of that lion paw walk. We'll call it the lion paw walk that my husband and I found. So many lion's paws. If you missed that video, I'll link it in this video's description. Just unbelievable. I don't know if we're ever gonna score a walk like that again. So many paws. It was just so fun. Now here is an orange purplish simile. So here's the other variety that they come in. We got a juvenile giant bittersweet and an Atlantic jewel box. Another one of those spinning clockwise. The left-handed jewel box. And a scale. I thought that was rough at first. A scaly scallop, very tiny one. Yay, and a lion's paw. This one looks pretty perfect. I love the patterning when they're like that. Looks like a frill on the outside. Very gorgeous. Oh, just love this scallop. Love it. And here is a thorny oyster. Pretty exaggerated bottom there. But those are nice colors too. And those clean up pretty well. I think they look nice when they're all grouped together. I have a giant one that I kind of stick them all in my shell cabinet, my display. And that video is coming up next. I'm going to share my shell cabinet with you. I've already been filming it, so I'm going to put it together. Here is a piece of a Florida State shell, a horse conch. Haven't found a solid horse conch on the East Coast yet. All right, you lion's paw. Please be whole. Yay. Wow. That's awesome. Oh, I love finding orange. Oh, is that so cool? That's so cool. It's just starting to get a little slow. But it's picking up. It's picking up. I just cannot help getting so excited about these lion paws. Here's got a rough one and a rough scallop. More pretty pops of orange. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Little rough, and let's see, yep, another little rough. Lots of rough little tiny ones around the Jupiter area, which I think is just amazing. Here's a tinted cantharus, and that has a very nice tip. Usually these are pretty blunt over here. And here's another lion's paw. It's a little bit old, but hey, it's got its hinge wings complete. The long and short one. And here is another jewel box. This is the lower valve of a jewel box, and this is a corrugate one, spinning counterclockwise. Got a flat scallop. Nice, another nice juvenile one. Lots of juvenile flats. And that's typically what I find as well. Over here are a lot of the smaller smaller flats. Now here is a bigger moon snail. That's pretty big. Usually I would find these bigger ones more on Singer Island in the Palm Beach area. Not too much up here, at least in my experience. For those moons, and there's some, okay, we'll pick up the bright orange one first, scaly scallop, but it's a nice giant Atlantic cockle, and let's see, what's that? Beat up chestnut, but that is a nice Pear Whelk. Very thin shell. It made it all up here. It looks like it's been buried for a while, but that, I'm going to tell you now, worked out really good in the 6% hydrogen peroxide. Lighten that one right back up. And yes, I'm going to collect some of those giant pieces. Still holding out for a project on those, but collecting them. And here's a magnum prickly cockle. Very gorgeous color on that one. Let's see, we'll just leave that little crown. Don't really find a lot of nice crowns on the beach. I love going to the river to find those really nice and defined. Here's an example of one of my best river finds. I actually just finished cleaning up this one a few weeks ago. Our church had a social out on the river, and Chalet and I were walking around the little island we were docked at, and I found this one. I was so happy to find it empty. I find that the river ones are just more defined and pretty. Here is a chalky lucine, kind of like an exaggerated large buttercup without the butteriness. Those are white shells with that, milky, chalky outer texture on those. And let's see, we got an egg cockle. Very nice shell. Sometimes I find these really glossy, but typically they have more of a mattified texture over here on the East Coast in a bubble, but that one has lost its color. Let's see what else we can find. A broken thorny oyster. We'll leave that one, but we'll collect that Strigilla. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, it's broken. Man, those Tritons are so hard to come by. It's a hairy Triton, but that could be a juvenile giant hairy Triton. Man, too bad it's broken. The little chubbier ones could be a giant juvenile. A little shark eye. Let's see, and a purple scaly scallop, purple centis. Oh, I glossed right over that Scotch bonnet. Let me know what else you see that I glossed over. All right, another glossy lettered olive. Totally been treated finding these glossy ones with tips over here on the East Coast. And another giant bittersweet and a simile under that one. Here's a bigger giant bittersweet. Still retained a lot of its nice dark coloring. Typically when they get, and a little scaly scallop, typically they lose their coloring as they mature and get larger. An eastern oyster. I'm like, okay, do I take this one? Do I not take this one? Okay, we'll keep it for projects. 3 states have that shell as their state shell: Virginia, Mississippi, and Connecticut. Another orange purplish simile. And oh, a bonnet. That's like a dark spotted bonnet, like a brown bonnet is what I hear they're called, and a dark seraph, a thorny oyster, and I like that has some yellow mixed in with it, and a file clam. Now that's a perfect one with a little red ear. So I ran into my shell friend Kathy here, so we got to chatting and talking. So this is what I found when I was with her. Love that yellow ruff and few lion's paws here. I think that was a scaly in my hand. Oops. Little tiny. I love the tiny paws. I find the tiny ones just as fascinating as the big ones. They're just so detailed even at that tiny stage. Nice flat and strigilla and a bubble, Atlantic bubble. Now this is more the regular size. They can get really big. See, thorny oyster. Ooh, that's a really nice pattern on that rough scallop. That is a nice. Okay, it's broken, but I don't run into orange calicos all too often, so I'm gonna hold on to that one, even though it's little and has a chip. So that's all I found when I was chatting with my friend Kathy. But oh man, a piece of a queen helmet. Man, oh man, those do not wash up, and neither do these. Very much. But man, that's a Caribbean vase shell. Yeah, it's all chewed up, but it's a Caribbean vase, so I'll go ahead and hold it, add it to the broken shell collection. A red-brown arc. These are pretty thin for arcs. Beautiful set of orange, and another orange calico up there too. Oh no, how disappointing. This would have been so fantastic to find the shell hole. This is a milk conch. I don't even run into a lot of pieces of this one. Oh man, oh well. I am gonna hold on to it though. Here is a paper cockle, a broad paper cockle. I really like how the pink and white are speckled through this one. Let's see, we got a lightning Venus clam, a rosy strigilla, a orange scaly scallop, and a spectral bittersweet. Now, did you think that was a quahog at first? Because I did. It is a chalky lucine, another one. Fantastic. Hobe Sound Beach here is not really designated as a dog beach, but there are a lot of four-legged friends. It's very friendly towards these little guys. All right, so I was finished with Hobe Sound, and if I have enough time, I will shoot down to Blowing Rocks. And on the shelf sharing shelf, I found this Poulsen's Triton. I only have one other, so to see that just sitting there, even broken, I was like, yay! I'll be sure to bring some shells next time I'm here to share as well. Here is a sea cucumber, just kind of hanging up here. I'm not too far from the water, so let's just get this little guy back in the water. All right, so that didn't quite make it in the water. So, all right, let's just put it out a little bit further. These are marine invertebrates, actually echinoderms, relatives of starfish and urchins. Here's another little friend to help in the water, Kathy. We both ended up down here at Blowing Rocks, and she was looking on the higher rock line and found this little guy up there and gave it down to me to go take in the water. All its little spines just moving. Oh, these are just, I just think nature is just so fascinating. Amazing critters created by an amazing God. All right, some sea glass. Now that looks about a Kelly green color. Really nice and frosted. Oh, and another lion's paw. Oh, but this one looks like it has a a little bit of hole. Now, when I find them like this with just a little tiny hole, I put some wall plaster in that and it from the back, and it works great. So here's a nice hand of littles and a lightning whelk. Yep, pretty busted. Don't ever find these really large ones on the East Coast that are pristine. Ooh, and a freak shell. Okay, last episode also I found one just like this one with a little extra growth on the lip. Chestnut turban, that one might acid dipping might help that one. Some more lettered olives, but these got little chips on the lips, so we'll leave those there. Let's see what we got. Yep, another one. Another lettered olive. Sometimes I'll probably hold on to this one. Well, I don't know. I can file like minor scuffs down with an emery board, just like a straight up nail file. Helps if the lip just has a little bit of damage. Let's see. Let's check out that one. Well, that's got a soft tip on it and some spectral bittersweet clams. I just listed those spectrals in my Etsy shop too for bulk shells. Pick up this auger and a calico clam. This olive looks like it's about to launch right off this beach, and that is perfect tip and nice and glossy, along with this one. Yep, okay, I got enough olives on this trip, and a lady in waiting Venus clam, and another lion's paw. Oh shoot, missing the corner, but that's all right. And a hinge wing. Corner and a hinge wing. Now that is all together. Okay, we found a piece before, but here is the whole bonnet. Dun 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 dun. Nice brown spotted. Oh, that's fantastic. Scotch bonnet. Perfect specimen. Great point on that one. I absolutely love when they have the spots on the underside there and on the top. Yay for the brown bonnets. The only way to top this one is if it had a double lip. Triton acorn barnacles. All right, I'll clean this one up, dip that in a little bit of a acid magic to bring its reddish pink color back, and yay, another lion's paw. Is that a tusk shell to the right? Oh wow, I might have missed the tusk shell. A lot of times after storm waves, big chunks of these corals do wash up, and this one pretty heavy. Not collecting it because the coral stays at the beach, but I don't know if I would have taken that if I was collecting. It's a little heavy. Here is another pretty yellow, a yellow-orange thorny oyster. I do like the yellows and those. And let's see, we got another Scotch bonnet. All right, here's the blonde bonnet. Here's normally the types of bonnets and size. I would find chestnut turban, a little one, but that aperture is a little broken. Yep, lion piece. I'm collecting the paws in any form, and another chip of sea glass, and that one's pretty frosted. I've been kind of trying to get a little picky on how I keep the sea glass. It's got to be pretty frosted. Yay, and a baby's ear. Oh man. Okay, well, I might leave that one there. It's got a little too much holes going on. And a couple chestnut turbans. That one has some really nice patterning, and another Scotch bonnet. I can't help but pick up these Scotch bonnets. They're just so stinking cute. And here's a nice little hand. Love the orange pops, and that zigzag scallop there was really nice. Zigzag flat. And a purplish scaly scallop to end this beach walk. Here are all of the shells that I collected from this beach walk at Hobe Sound and ending in Blowing Rocks. Lots of Strigillas in that Pear Whelk that cleaned up really good. Lots of chestnut turbans, the Distorsio, the broken Triton. A lot of paws, which was always fun, and this Poulsen's Triton. Very excited to have found that on the share shelling shelf. A lot of purplish similes and thorny oysters, jewel box lid, that magnum, some calicos, lots of spectral bittersweets, and my freak olive that I found. It's so funny that I come across two like that. Here's the other one from the previous beach walk that I shared. So I got two of those. More glossy olives to add to the collection, and I got a nice larger shark eye. Happy to come across a lot of these really pretty scaly scallops. I was running a little bit low on those. They're so bright. I do offer those in bulk in my Etsy shop. Beautiful flats as well. And lots of little bonnets, but that spotted one just takes the cake. Love all the rough scallops I got too. This was the best rough. I love the yellow ones. They're referred to as lemon pectins. Glad I found some file clams and Mexican tellins, and this one just takes the cake. Very, very beautifully defined and colored on that one. And here's that file clam with the little red ear. It cleaned up really pretty, even though the periostracum brown looks pretty around the ribs. Lots of orange, and this was just such a beautiful beach walk, and I feel so blessed being so close to the beach, and I'm happy to share these beach walks with you. And thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe so other viewers like yourself can find these videos on YouTube. Thank you so much, and until next time, I leave you with this.